Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, people of God. This is Dr. DeWanda Owens coming to you today to talk about mental health. Our focus for this month are the ABCs that not only impact our mental health but lead up to our mental health. So the first letter of the alphabet is A, and we're going to talk about abuse. We're going to talk about the various forms of abuse and how some abuse is misjudged and some abuse is overlooked. Abuse comes in a lot of forms. Many a times we don't realize that when we are physically abused, after our body heals, we believe sometimes that we are healed, but we never consider the impact that the physical abuse has on the mental status and the mental state, the mental capacity. Sometimes when we are in a place where we have been physically abused, we have what some would call a click. It doesn't take much to make us flinch out or make a move. And that is the impact of physical abuse on your mental health. We find it hard to relax. We find it hard to trust. We find it hard to have a relationship. We find it hard to be a productive employee. We find it hard to be a good friend because we have went through the matter or the abuse of physical abuse. And we think that because we've removed ourselves out of the situation, or we're no longer in that relationship, we're no longer having to come in contact with the physical abuser, that we are safe. What about the mind? What about the outcome on your mental health? Consider that. Another form of abuse is verbal abuse. I hear women say all the time, you can't talk to me like that. I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like that. Men say, you can't disrespect me. You can't say that to me. You can't talk to me like that. So we mislead ourselves into thinking that as long as we're not physically abused, we're not abused when we are verbally abused. You're verbally abused whenever somebody uses words to hurt you. That's verbal abuse. Because God, He created His words to edify and to uplift. And if we choose to use words to hurt people, we are an abuser. And those who accept it are being abused. And so we think we can deal with that. I can handle that part. I can deal with that. I hear women say it all the time. I can handle that. It's a deal breaker for me if they hit me. But I remember something that my grandmother told me. When they hit, the body heals itself. But when you have words, they never die. Your mind, as long as it's intact, you always remember what was said to you and how it made you feel. Glory to God. I don't care if you're physically abused or verbally abused. Abuse is abuse. And then the last one I want to talk about today is the psychological abuse. The abuse that makes you think, makes you wonder if you're capable of functioning as a citizen, or if you're capable of functioning of doing something, or it comes by way of the narcissistic mentality. Those who have that narcissistic spirit, the whole relationship got to be about them. The entire environment has to be everything has to be about them. And so the person that has that narcissistic spirit imparts it and abuses those who are around them. And so those who are around them are psychologically abused because they're trying to find a way to make them happy. Find a way to keep them happy. They denounce anything. They'll put themselves on the back. The one who is being abused will put themselves on the back burner on everything, on every capacity, on anything, as long as that one with the narcissistic spirit appears to be happy. So there are a lot of forms of abuse. Verbal abuse, physical abuse, psychological abuse. And to me, the psychological abuse is the one that leads to medication. It leads to the need of therapy. It leads to low self-esteem. The psychological abuse makes you forget your worth. It makes you discount your self-worth. It makes you promote others in their worth. Always pushing, and then we sometimes tell ourselves, I'm good being on the back end. I've always been a pusher. No, you suffer from psychological abuse, not knowing that we were not created as the tail, but we were created as the head. We were not created as the borrower, but we were created as the lender. We were created to be above and not beneath. And whenever you psychologically psych your mind out to believe that you're comfortable being in the back, you're comfortable being where you are, down low, and pushing other people up, you have suffered it somewhere in your life, psychological abuse. So today, consider the word abuse. Consider what form of abuse that you have allowed to infiltrate your mind, your body, your spirit, your heart, your psychological insight, and denounce it. Speak against it. No longer am I going to discount who I am just because I have low self-esteem. I denounce low self-esteem because I am not at the end. I am at the top. And so today I want you to think about abuse. You know, everybody says what's a deal breaker for them. But what's not a deal breaker for you should be. And that is psychological abuse. Any form of abuse is not acceptable. It all should be denounced. But I wanted to talk about that psychological one because we overlook it. Because we feel like if they didn't hit me, they didn't say nothing ugly to me, I'm not being abused. You are being controlled, manipulated, and made to feel like you got a prize and you're not the prize. Think about that. I pray that the A in abuse helps you understand that you are part of Alpha, the beginning of something new today. God bless.